Welcome to another episode of the Bitter Jury Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Westoff, and joining me tonight are my co-hosts, Charles, Richard, and Sarah, to talk about all the things that happened in Week 5 of the US 25 Big Brother season. Boy, we've had a busy week. This house is exhausting. The house flips back and forth every 3 hours, it feels like. This has been quite the season so far, and we have so much to break down about Jared's HOH week and how it played out. Before we get too deep into things, let's just introduce our hosts. So first, the man who's sitting in darkness now on our Zoom call, who is mourning the loss of Red tonight. We do drink on this podcast, so everyone pouring out for Charles's first team evictee, Red. He is the fourth player evicted from the house, fifth house guest out from this season. Charles, welcome to tonight's show. If your screen says anything about how you feel, I know what to expect, but how are you doing tonight?
You know, we had kind of made jokes previously in the season that if something kind of went awry that I just didn't agree with, that I would sit in darkness. So here we are. I don't even think that it's as much for Red getting evicted as the fact as it's on Jared's fucking HOH that he got evicted. A couple of my other friends who know how much I despise Jared, and we've talked about it on here, it is just so fucking unbelievable to me that an idiot like this is the cause for my guy Red to be gone. So yeah, I'm excited to be here in darkness. Hopefully you can see that I still have a drink and I'm ready to go.
Well, true to your word, as you texted me right after I told you the eviction count, I am really pissed about Red going home on Jared's watch. He's useless. So you do stick to your guns on that. Someone else who sticks to their guns, my sister, Sarah. Sarah, welcome to the podcast. I know you've been keeping a close eye on the live feeds this week and have been caught up on all the episode. How do you think this week went? And how are you feeling now that Red has left the house?
I have been up, I have been down, I have been let down this week. I have been surprised this week. I have fallen in love with Mara Corey this week.
Yes, welcome to the team.
And yeah, there's a lot to talk about for sure. Lots vote roulette, and it was crazy. It was crazy this week.
Yeah, vote roulette, target roulette. This house can never seem to come on agreement of anything longer than about 2-3 hours. But also joining us tonight, it's my friend Richard Mai. Richard, I guess if you want to go ahead and do it now, we've already talked a little bit, and we'll get into the Red stuff here in a minute. But I think even more exciting or dramatic than Red leaving is who we got for HOH. So if you want to go ahead, tell me how you're doing tonight, and go ahead and spill the beans to Charles, who doesn't know yet what kind of week we're looking at coming up. Who's in charge of the house?
Yeah, I was doing pretty good until I got a text from my friend about an hour ago telling me who won the HOH because I missed the end of the episode. Yeah, so damn Cameron won.
We got two dark screens.
I'm gonna sit here, not as dark as Charles.
Hey, but, join me in the darkness.
All I'm gonna say is that I was hoping on everything that exists that I'm gonna turn the light on my mic off.
It's actually a sick mic.
That is a pretty sweet. Where's mic. Off? Where's
just switch it to red?
Honestly,
I switch it to red in honor of Red.
Yeah. There.
Okay.
You passed Red.
Well, I missed it.
There we go.
I keep missing it. But all I'm going to say is that I was hoping that Cameron would be the one that went home this week, and now he's the HOH. And I have never missed the Battle of the Block more because there's no chance that he gets dethroned as HOH.
Well, all I can say now is congratulations to Pooch, who has the first official member of the jury on his team. Pooch also texted me earlier tonight to rub it in a little bit, and he said, is it just me, or am I low key killing this BB fantasy? So shout out to Pooch.
Okay.
You and him both don't have anyone missing yet, but I think
Pooch needs to back up, because here's the thing: even though I have the idiot on my team is still full intact, and at least up until this week, in my opinion, the strongest team.
Yeah,
who has AmeriCorey?
I have America.
Corey is on.
If you say damn Pooch, I'm gonna have to defer.
Pooch. Yep. Pooch has
Cameron. I'm gonna have to defer.
Pooch has Cameron, Corey, and Blue. So I told him I didn't think he had a strong winner on his team, but he's probably making all three to jury. So
I mean, Corey helps his case because Corey's slowly doing better. Yeah. Felicia needs to clean her act up. Jag keeps scaring me every week by sitting on that stupid block. And yeah, that's my team.
Well,
Felicia and Jag.
None of you have to worry, because I'm probably eating these hot wings anyway. But let's reel this back in. Biggest news of the night is we officially sent Red out of the house. Now, this was not a straightforward week. There were beginning of the week, we had Cameron and Red put on the block by Jared. Honestly, I think the house was happy if either one of them went. The whole purpose of the week was to split up the power duo of Red and Cameron. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought that was overhyped until I saw Cameron win HOH tonight, and he's officially played in every single competition that you can play in this season. So, and he's won 4 of them, I think. So maybe he is a bit of a comp beast. But once, not beast, but he's at least a bigger threat so far than anyone else left in the house.
Comp threat.
Yeah, okay, we'll put it
comparatively to everyone else in the house.
Yes, only to BB25 season. But once we saw Cameron win that veto, and Jag was the replacement, and we'll get into why Jag became that replacement later. But it really was a back and forth affair of who was going to go home. So Sarah, can you kind of set up when they put Jag up on the block, the house initially wanted Jag to be gone, right? He was under the impression he was a pawn, but he was the initial target, right?
Yes, when they put Jag up for the renomination ceremony, yes, he originally was the target. They kind of came together, Sariv, Jared, Izzy, and said, hey, if I were to be saved in a house where I was just voted out in a unanimous vote, then I probably would come in not trusting anyone. So they decided that he was probably a larger threat than he was ally. So he originally was the target. Actually,
real quick before you move forward, who else was in consideration for being the replacement nominee?
So it was Jag, America, and that was kind of it.
I think Bowie was an option there for a little bit as well.
Yeah, Bowie was just a random throw-in option, but it was between Jag and America. Jared has it out for America right now.
As this match.
This is a much bigger topic that we'll get into, I'm sure. But between Red and Jag, ultimately they decided that, we watched Red and Cameron kind of break up on Wednesday night's episode because of something.
I'm going to interject here. I literally cried.
Stop.
Not even kidding.
It wasn't until they had inklings that Red and Cameron were going to be probably minning fences, getting back together, and realized that they weren't going to be able to trust Red.
And that's why
more than they couldn't trust Jag. So that's why
I want to interject here. In terms of replacement nominees, I know that there's the whole thing, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, like Sarah said, the whole like ulterior motives for why Jared is up against America so badly. But I genuinely think, like, from a game point perspective, if you're Jared, getting rid of America is a better move than getting rid of Jag, because of that like duo ship with Corey. Jag is kind of in a lot of places, but he's also closer to Jared because of, like, there's like degrees of separation. Like, Jag is loyal to Matt, who's loyal to Suri, who's loyal to Jared. So, like, I don't know why you'd go for Jag, because Jag isn't necessarily an immediate threat to you as much as America is, because America isn't working with Jared, amongst the other things that he said about her, which I need to drink before we even get to that crap.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I'll say this. Yeah, I do agree. The biggest problem for the Suri Izzy Jared alliance is Corey and America. They're the only people who haven't been completely bamboozled by Suri. So, yeah, I think that would have been probably the best for Jared. But Jared doesn't follow what's best for him. He follows his ego. We'll rewind to all this stuff. But Charles, I want to bring you in. Just with Red gone now, how do you see the house reacting moving forward? And it just gives me your full reaction to the news of tonight in general. Red gone, but now Cameron is HOH. Do you predict that Cameron gets revenge for Red? Do you think he turns a new leaf and goes another direction? Just give me your initial gut reaction, since this news is all still pretty fresh for you.
I mean, truthfully, my reaction is more to ask questions, which, one of which I had for you all who have kind of paid more attention to the feeds, because I didn't really pay attention this week. And, I think my initial thought is, did Red and Cameron not have a conversation at some point throughout their whole breakup and their whole thing? Because I'm sitting here thinking, like, I remember so many times that somebody has been on the block with their ride or die, but it hasn't gone to complete hell because everybody has an understanding, and they had this side conversation of, you know what, I'm going to go, kind of how Cameron did. I'm going to go tell the HOH what I need to tell them, but I'm still trying to protect you. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, surely they had this conversation, and surely Red's not that hurt. But again, I'm kind of jumping around now, but
let me
watching their breakup, like, it told me that they did not have this conversation, because you could tell they were both genuinely upset by it.
Let me jump in here real quick, and
yeah.
we'll have a back and forth here for a second with you and me, Charles. So I didn't watch the episodes really this week. I saw the end of the eviction episode, but I've been following the live feeds and the live feed updates. So I'm aware of what the actual situation was, but I don't really know how the show portrayed it. So can you recap for me, and as well as our audience, what did the Big Brother show portray as the reason for the breakup and why it went down?
In a nutshell, essentially, in Cameron's direct conversation with Jared, he basically just seemingly threw Red under the bus, and just, oh, well, I can see that Red's is your target, so I'm going to fight, and I'm going to make sure that I stay here, and I agree with you. And again, he's agreeing with Jared, which, okay, that's fine. And then in his DR, of course, he's still making comments about Red's still my ride or die. I'm telling the HOH what I need to tell the HOH to protect myself and to also kind of cover my tracks. And again, in my mind, surely he's telling Red this. And I'm like, oh. So then, of course, Jared, who's the biggest dumbass of all dumbasses, but in this case, I guess, did the right thing from a game perspective, but went directly to Red and said, hey, he's supposed to be your ride or die, but I'm just going to go ahead and let you know he's already told me that he's okay if you go home. and blah, blah, blah. So then, of course, that getting back to Red just took it to a 10 and is like, oh my gosh, my guy has stabbed me in the back and the chillers are now on ice. Literally that line, like I literally started crying because I was like,
all right, so
yeah.
So there's a major piece missing from here. And Sarah, Richard, speak up if I get any of this wrong. But from the live feed updates, what really happened, without rewinding too much. So there is a ongoing situation between a lot of people in the House in America, a lot of the men in the House in America. Specifically, it started mostly with Cameron acting creepy towards America. Once Riley left, Riley was like his first victim's a strong word, but his first crush / person obsession. Yes.
I was say, what do you mean creepy?
Creepy, like
by creepy, he means like telling America that she needs to put more clothes on because he can't handle himself in front of her.
Okay.
Staring
creepy,
at her for 10,
yeah.
15 minutes at a time.
So he's using her for his spank tank.
Yeah, I mean, and
Okay.
we saw similar things happening with Riley.
Richard's face.
Yeah. So we saw.
I just never know what to expect with you anymore.
Hey, that's why I'm here.
We saw similar behavior with him and Riley, where he would be like hitting on her, but also calling her his daughter, and then also like manipulating her by like pushing her away from her friends and isolating her. So we already saw some like iffy behavior around him and women with Riley, and now it's being also. He's doing the same towards America, but she's more aware of it. And she's actually telling other people, hey, I'm feeling uncomfortable around Cameron. And
no one is listening to her.
No, for the most part, people are piling on. Matt has piled on, called her a bitch, said she's stupid. Jared's called her some bad words that I'm sure if you're on social media for Big Brother, you've seen. We're not going to get into that tonight, but maybe for
we don't want to cancel ourselves.
Right. So that's
Izzy's was tamer, but more like mentally kind of, I'd say, I don't know, affecting, or I don't know what the right word is. Yeah, because Izzy kind of just gaslit her.
Totally.
Just like waved it off and gaslit her.
Yeah.
Totally.
So basically, yeah. So that's going on in the background, which is key information because it's been, it's not just Cameron. Like there are other people are treating her like we just got into, but Red was also someone who has been talking bad about America. It started off with him talking about how he can't really be around her because he's afraid of how his girlfriend at home will think he's acting around such a pretty woman. He's called her fast and loose, which I guess is basically a way of calling her a slut, but in Red terms.
Yeah, she's real slutty.
Yeah, they've
so dumb.
They say that
what annoys me is that you direct that towards America and not towards Blue.
Right, exactly. It's like they're picking out. It's the Taylor steamroll. One person decided she's going to be the victim, and they're all piling on because that's what can happen.
Sarah's reaction was me when I first read what he said.
Yeah. So with that key context, sorry, I won't get in too much longer here, but this is crucial details as well. Sari pulled Corey aside and told him some of the stuff Red had been saying about America. But the way she phrased it was that, and Sarah, tell me if I'm wrong here. I believe what she said to Corey was Red didn't say these exact words, but he basically called her a bitch. Like that's what she said to Corey about America, is that Red didn't call her a bitch, but all the things he's been saying can be summed up by basically saying he called her a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But Corey didn't hear the beginning portion. He just heard Red called her a bitch and then told America about that. And then telephone game, because America has been telling people about how Cameron's making her feel uncomfortable. Red's talking shit about her. Word got around and Red ended up hearing, I guess Cameron ended up hearing first about some of these rumors. And then he also extended the telephone game and told it to other people. And then Red got word that Cameron had repeated information about him calling America a bitch. So that long story there, all you really got to pull from it is that from Red's perspective, his number one ally in the house, Cameron, is going around and telling people that he's mistreating women and calling them bitches and is making him look bad on national television. And that's supposed to be his number one dude. Now, obviously, there's a lot of misconstrued telephone games and miscommunications there. And that's why when you see that hot tub scene, if Red would have just been like, hey, I heard you're telling people I called America a bitch, they probably could have worked it out right there. But he was being all dramatic and being like, you know what you did. I don't even have to say it. It's like Cameron literally was like, what are you talking about?
But it broke my heart.
So that's the backstory of why they actually broke up. It wasn't just about the being on the thing together. There was a little more drama behind it.
The chillers are on ice.
And also,
I mean, you got to tell me that didn't make you all sad.
Well, I didn't watch the episode, so I only heard the Terran reenactment, but he also had the piano music, so it was a little sad.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
It was
sad. That's what got us to Red being the final evictee, I think. But yeah, that's the kind of drama you get when you follow the live feed updates day to day. Is there are things that you miss on the show, but obviously, how would they even show that in 60 minutes? They've only got 3 episodes a week to try and get all that information in. So I don't blame the producers. They've got a tough job. Let's see. I have a topic I kind of want to get to, but is there anything else we need to dive into on the mechanics of this week? You know, Jared HoH, Jared putting up Cam and Red. Cam did win a tiny veto, so it was kind of cool to see tiny veto come back. And then we had our eviction. Anything mechanically there that you want to touch on, Richard? I know. I think nothing.
He said,
I
think this is the first time Richard has not had something to say.
Because I've been talking for like 20 minutes. I'm like taking over this pod. I'm going to cut a little bit of this portion out.
No, keep it.
But, all right, something I want to get into because I don't have a format for this. We're just going to talk about the fun stuff.
We can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
All right. Jared's really bad at keeping secrets.
Jared's really bad at the fucking game, dude. That's why I'm sitting in darkness. Hold on. Before you continue.
Sure.
Okay. Now I'm
Jared wearing his handkerchief on his head.
Yes. There we go. Now we can continue.
All right. Well, we've known in past weeks that Jared slipped up a few times with the secret about him and his mom in the house. You know, he literally told Blue and just said it was Felicia. But this week, Richard, are you aware of the thing that happened last night with Corey, America, and Jared?
I think so.
All right. I know Sarah is.
Ooh,
right?
I'm not. Please, Bill.
All right, Sarah, let me stop talking for a few minutes, please. Inform us how Jared almost let the cat out of the bag last night.
So basically last night, Jared, America, and Corey were all sitting they were in the HOH room, right? And they were chatting about age and experience, and Jared was telling Corey how...
And a little just tiny back information here. Jared has to, he and Corey are buds, but there's a power dynamic there. He has to be better than Corey at everything. Corey can't be better at anything than him, or it's going to bother Jared's ego. So keep that in mind when we talk about this story.
Jared doesn't have an ego. I don't know what you're talking about.
Jared has a massive ego, and Corey is having a hard time taming it for sure. But basically, Jared and Corey in America, they were all having a conversation, and Jared was telling Corey that basically he has no game. And
hitting on women game, not Big Brother game.
Yeah. And Corey, came back to Jared saying, well, maybe that's what people find endearing about me. And Jared was saying, no, you don't have the type of experience that I have, and you never will, basically. And Corey said, well, at the age of 21, I'm on reality television. So, you
What
know,
were you doing when you
it
were
seems
21?
like I have a lot of experience. What were you doing? And Jared, it got silent for a second. And then Jared said, well, I was on live TV when I was 18. So,
And Corey goes,
and,
why were you on national television?
and Corey goes, wait a second. What were you on? And
I love Sarah's reenactment right now.
This is the best part.
Jared couldn't even handle it. He couldn't even lie. He did not think far enough about where he was going to take that next statement. So when Corey
Richard feels like how I feel right now.
when
There's 20 places you could go with that statement. Your family was literally on any effing TV show, would have done it. I don't care. My cousin was on The Voice.
America's Funniest Home Videos.
Billy Bo's job was like, my best friend was on fucking Dancing on Ice. Who cares?
All right,
Anyway,
Sarah,
You had
what did
20
he tell him?
places to go with that.
Jared ended up saying that he was on Big Brother at 18.
Yeah.
Big
So
brother.
to reenact it a bit.
Okay, I'm gonna chug the rest of this beer.
To reenact it a bit, Corey goes, what were you on? He goes, a Big Brother. And Corey goes, ha, real funny. Like seriously, what were you on? And he like couldn't like come up with a lie. He just kept saying Big Brother.
Big Brother.
And Corey's like, stop messing with me. And my
glad I'm
favorite
sitting in
part,
darkness.
Izzy walks in the room in the middle of this conversation, goes, hey, what are y'all talking about? And Corey goes, Jared said he was on national television when he was 18. And Izzy goes, y'all are crazy, and walked out of the room.
I'm glad I'm sitting in darkness at the moment. Like, and I've said this the past few episodes, Jared is a waste of fucking space. Get him off of this show. He's terrible. I hope that he listens to this one day and he can come on here and I will say the same thing. I hope you're a cooler person outside of the Big Brother house. But other than that, dude, like,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Can I go back to something real quick? I
Please.
found this, and I don't know if this is the best person to quote or not, but I'm gonna say it anyways. As we all know, after the Big Brother house, Jeff Schroeder has had a career,
Sure.
one of the careers of all time. But what I will give him credit for, I think he said this at about, I forgot who he said this about, but a few seasons ago, it was one of the more recent seasons. He was asked on the TV show that he's on. I just found this clip on Twitter because somebody retweeted it. Basically just saying like one of his co-hosts was just asking him like what he thinks of one of the house guests said like a racist or like something like that remark, which makes me think that it was probably about like Jackson Mickey or something like that. But basically Jeff was just saying, I don't want to pass too heavily of a character judgment and tell the world what his character is just based off of what we've seen off of this show. He was like, they're in the house 24 with cameras on you 24/7 for a huge chunk of your year. And sometimes it does that to people. And he was like, it's not an excuse for him saying it, but it does, like, just being in the house does change your brain chemistry over time. So I think to that extent, I would say is why I differentiate the Jared situation from the Luke situation, because Luke said what he said like 3 days into the house, and Jared's been there for 4 weeks. So there's an argument to be had that he, that his brain chemistry to some degree has been altered up to, after, a whole month now being in the house. Again, not an excuse at all for what he said and what he's been doing.
I just don't think that word would come out of your mouth unless it were in your vocabulary.
Oh, 100%. And that's where I was going with it. I feel like, I don't know what he was, what he was raised with, but Northeast All Boys Catholic High School, that is a word that I've been telling people I know to stop saying because it is part of vocabulary very much so, and it's something that you just have to be mindful of and try to stop, but it's also hard when it's already habit.
Yeah, it's true. It'd be a lot easier to not look past it, but like you said, give him the benefit of the doubt if he wasn't every day making a fool of himself with just his conversation, especially the stuff with Blue and just how he thinks about relationships with women. It's very alpha male.
Yeah, I'm more so thinking other situations you could give him the benefit of the doubt, but less so in this situation where he used a derogatory term to describe someone.
Yeah. And I will say what Jeff kind of brought it all back to, one main point that he did was like, in his opinion, I haven't thought about this enough to say if I agree or not. This is just what he said. He said that he thinks it's more important that we make this a teaching moment for them. Bashing Jared is not like, I don't know. I'm just saying Jared because that's who we're talking about. But it was like he was just like bashing the guy, and like now like stooping down to his level, and now saying like mean, awful stuff to him isn't going to help him grow and change and stop saying those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I kind of see that and see how that is applicable to a certain degree. And there's a reason why that clip was retweeted a few times for this situation.
I didn't know we were going to dive into this, but no, excuse me. I actually agree with that 100%. And anything I've said about Jared, and even tonight, I've said I don't like him as a player. Judging someone's character obviously is tough because, again, truthfully, I don't necessarily think that. What was his name? Kyle? No, not Kyle. Who got kicked out?
Season.
Yeah,
Luke.
I don't think Luke. If Jared's not gone, then Luke shouldn't have gone either. In my opinion. But I just think if you're from a CBS perspective, right? Because I totally agree. Us bashing someone about it and like getting super hateful about how somebody treats somebody isn't going to get anywhere. But if you're going to create a rule, then let's make that a rule about everything, not just one group or another. So,
yep,
that's my 2 cents. On a serious note and not being dramatic.
Yeah,
and with that said, I mean, freaking Halloween was saying that you got that it's a double standard. I'm sorry, I refuse to call New Year's Eve by her real name.
Laughed so hard when we texted earlier, and you put that in there.
She will always be every other holiday, mainly Halloween, just because of how scarily stupid she was on 22. If you don't know who I'm talking about, educate yourself. 10 shattered bones, 9 weeks in a cast, 8 surgeries. You'll figure it out.
Well, for a palate cleanser, I've got a pick here for us.
What is this?
Yes! Sarah, are you aware what this is?
Yes.
Okay, so Charles will be the only one that's never seen this before.
Yeah.
What is this?
So for those who are listening only, I currently have a Twitter video up. It's of the scary bedroom. It is an angle showing Corey, America, and Felicia sleeping, and Felicia's about to be the star of the show here. Let me just play the video. Charles turns the light on for this. Yeah, so Felicia sings in her sleep. That's what that was.
Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure I do
Edison.
too, so that's why I'm
What's
laughing
up?
so hard. So
What's up?
Yeah.
I need you to make sure that if that audio wasn't clear
Sure. To reproduce
in
it.
post, that we make sure that the audience gets
The full picture.
I don't know, Felicia's new single.
oh gosh.
Yeah, that was
It's-
so good.
It's one of no. Malicious Sleep Singing is going up there with Christmas's Zing as one of my favorite things. Oh, sorry, Halloween Zing. Sorry. One of my favorite things that has come out of this show.
I said it on episode 1 of this podcast of this season. Protect Felicia at all costs. She's a gem.
That's my team.
Wow.
Yeah, Felicia.
That's actually one of the many reasons I would never go on the show, because I know that I'm a sleep talker, runner, crier.
All right. Well, those are all the major topics I had this week. I know we didn't really hit on a ton of them. We drilled down on some more of the important ones. Only other big topic I really had I wanted to discuss quickly is how bad the game Jag is. Are you kidding me? You got voted out 10-0 last week, and within 24 hours, you're again on Sareed's team targeting Corey in America, and are not at all alerted in your mind when they're like, hey, we might do a 6-4 vote this week and blame it on America and Corey. Hello. That was the exact same play they ran last week on you. And now they're just flipping it over to Red. How is this not sounding every alarm bell in your head, being like, oh my God, these people are lying to me. They're the power structure. I shouldn't trust them. I need to build an army against them. But no, Jag's just here for pranks and good times and staying as long as he can, but he's got no head in the game.
You know what he reminds me of?
Who?
He reminds me of like James Hewling, but with integrity. More integrity.
Was he the prankster guy?
From 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
You
I get a
know-
similar vibe. Yeah, similar
He's
vibe.
here for a good time, you know.
Here for a good time, but you're right. But a little more integrity.
I had such high hopes for Jag when
And
we
that's what I
walked
was getting
into
ready
this
to say. Like,
season.
Jag was one of my
When we
top
did-
3
yeah,
winner
when
picks.
we did our draft, we all kind of had a comment of like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have had Jag. Like,
and I
Yes,
got
I
him
think-
from last place.
Again, just like we said, he looks the part to be
He
a
plays
winner.
the part too. He knows the
He-
game. He understands
he-
it.
He is an amazing player that's not playing the same game right now. He is always like 2 steps behind. He's always 2 days behind on everything, unless he sits down with America and Corey and both of them just spill everything that they have, all the information they have. They're not going to get anywhere. If they do spill all that information, I think that a connection could potentially be made between Suri and Jared.
He's been talking
But-
shit about America all day today and yesterday that he doesn't trust her.
Without Jag just having his head on straight, he's useless to have in the game.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense. Like not sending him home 2 weeks ago if he's not gonna just fight for it. Like even tonight's HOH, fight for it.
I'd like to make a case. I feel like first of all, I think Jag's game started to break after Riley's eviction. And I think what it comes down to is the fact that I think Jag is a good okay. I see Jag in terms of like strategic thinking, like a Cody Calafiore, where
I was
he
about
needs
to
a
say the
second
same
person
thing.
to bounce off of.
Yep.
Now that Riley's gone,
He needs a
he turned to Matt, right?
Yep.
Matt is now with Suri, is now one of Suri's minions. You could turn to Corey America, but them two are like loved up in the hammock. You could look towards Blue, but now Blue is all on Jared, both literally and strategically.
is she on or is he in?
Every sense of the word, in, on, through, whatever. But I just think that now that Matt has kind of turned to the Suri side, Jag feels like he's lost control and any say in decision making. because everything is going to funnel its way up to Suri and Matt and like Corey and American are going to do their thing. They're just all splitting, and he lacks that kind of stable. Like, I think Cody Calafiore on 16, I think he would have gone home top 7, maybe top 6 if it wasn't for Derek. I think half the reason why he did so well is because he had Derek as the stable, strategic-minded, like, think through everything kind of guy that he could bounce those ideas off of. I think Jag is in a similar situation, and he doesn't have that right now. If he had someone that he could look to.
I think that Jag's been kind of like lost along the way, like with Riley's HOH, like he was totally set up. If Riley wouldn't have left during Hisam's HOH, Jag probably would still be set up. But
Jag would be one of the power players right now if Riley didn't go home.
Do you think he got shell shocked? Like he was thinking he was so good that first week, and now he's just playing a little scared.
Could be.
No, I think it was losing Matt. I think it was when he realized that Matt is not.
By the way, everything you said about comparing him to Cody, I think you're spot on with that. Like, I think that's a great
it's a matter of Jag doesn't have a final 2 deal that he can rely on and fall back on.
Yep, he's got allies he's got number 1 allies that he's their number 2 ally.
He solidified Riley when he should have. He solidified Riley when he should have solidified a 3 of him, Riley, and Matt as the final 3. In my opinion, would have been the right smart move because you have Riley connecting the 2 of them. So even if one person leaves, that 3, no matter who leaves, the other 2 could have banded together and become a final 2 deal. Riley goes home, Jag and Matt. Matt goes home, Riley and Jag. Jag goes home, Riley and Matt.
Partially ruined the season for me was the fact that Riley whispered in Matt's ear on her way out the door, protect Jag and Suri. And Matt has like taken that as being like word from God that like he now has to work for Suri for the rest of the game because Riley, who he made a shrine of Q-tips of, told him protect Suri, and now that's like his calling. Like,
but did we? But I'm like, I'm now just thinking to myself. Now, Matt, did you just forget the first half of that? The protect Jag part.
Yeah, I mean he's sort of protecting Jag, but the fact that Suri's targeting Jag, he can't do both.
Okay. Besides use the power on him, what has he done?
He fought for Jag all week on the feeds. I mean, whenever they were vote flipping toward red,
he and Jag have been buddy up talking crap about America. So there is a relationship still there. But I agree though, he does seem like he'd be more useful if he had someone to direct him at spots.
Here's I think the best way to put it. I just thought of this. I think Matt is taking protect too literally rather than play with.
Yeah.
Riley more so meant like this is who you need to work with, and protect as in keep around and keep with you and like not let them go. But I think Matt took protect literally as in who gives a rat's ass. If he's on the block, I'll save his ass. But like that's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been a crazy week. We've hit on a lot of topics. Charles, any final wrap-up segments here you want to touch on before we call this a night?
I do, and I actually just thought of this. This may actually no, it won't go longer than what I intend for it to. But I'm sitting here thinking, especially after we've done the draft, and Daniel and I's teams are now decimated compared to everyone else's at this point. Give me, at this point in the game, and obviously this will change here over the next couple of weeks, but now that we're getting in on seeing what, a lot more of the personalities are, some of the bullshit players in the game, I want to hear who each of your three's top 3 is at this moment of who's sitting in the top 3. Richard, you first.
I'll give us.
So do y'all remember in Big Brother, I think it was 19. Which one did Franzel win? 18? 18. I know, but that's just the winner is how I kind of think of what season I'm thinking of with Paul.
Why is
which season did he lose? I forgot who it was, but somebody said they're playing Big Paul. No, it was Alex from Big Brother 19. They're just playing Big Paul. Yeah, this house is just playing Big Suri.
Okay. So
Let's
who are
be
your
real.
three? So your three are
Suri. If no one is smart enough to catch on, Suri wins the game. Over Matt and Corey, because that's what I'd like to see. Amen.
Interesting three. All right, Sarah, what about you?
Is it my top three of who I think will win the game?
Yeah,
or
at this
top-
point right now, and you can
or
change
top
that
three of who I want to win the game.
of who you think the actual top three will be, not wants of who do you think will earn those three spots.
AK, who do you think will be first, second, and third? In other terms.
I think Suri obviously stands a really good chance. Probably is first. Oh gosh. It's so hard to decide. I think that the next two would probably be Jared and Corey.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Daniel?
think I think it's Izzy wins the game because Jared beats Izzy in the final three and takes his mom, and she beats him. And just for kickers, I think fourth place would be maybe like Mimi, and fifth place would be Corey.
Mimi for fourth. Wow.
Yeah, I think she'll, and not just because she's the only member of my team left, but I think she'll just float her way there.
Yeah, she's definitely not doing anything.
Yeah.
Good picks. I'm always way off compared to everyone else, but I actually do not have Suri in my top three at the moment because I'm really banking on America and Corey thankfully finally realizing that they cannot allow her to continue running the game. And my three are actually Matt pulling off the win on top of America and Corey.
Okay, Charles.
Yeah, and I have a couple of theories about one of those people that I probably will never say on air, but probably will when we're not recording. But
sounds like we got a powwow when this is wrapped up.
That's
here.
where I stand right now.
All right. Well, if that comes true, I'll be happy because I am rooting for Amara Corey at this point. They're our only hope for stopping a steamroll, or I don't know, maybe Bowie can finally join the game and do something. But
now I do have a question. Do you think now that Cameron is HOH, do you think he is going to try and hunt down who was the person that saved Jag?
I was waiting for you to react to Charles.
I do.
Sir, can you repeat that again? I was a little distracted.
I said, do you think now that Cameron is HOH, do you think he is going to interrogate everyone on who used the power? And do you think anyone's going to throw Matt's name under the bus this week?
Well, I will.
Good question.
I texted this to. I like that Charles said good question both times he asked it.
I know. I was like, that's such a good question.
Sarah, you and I already texted about this, but I'll just repeat what I relayed to you on the text. This morning, like as they were getting ready and like putting on makeup and everything, America and Corey were talking specifically about this situation. They were saying, all right, worst case scenario, Cameron wins. What do we do? And Corey, and who knows if they'll stick to it, but they came up together with the plan that they are going to reveal everything to him.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to talk about how they've known about the Legends 25 Alliance this entire time, that it wasn't a secret at all, that Red and Cameron were the actual targets last week, and they have been for weeks, and that there are other alliances of 7 and 8 with Suri in the middle, and that they're the power source. So if all that gets spilled to Cameron, the game could flip on its head. We could just be kind of in a chaos situation. Who knows how it lands? But I'll believe it when I see it with if Corey and them actually reveal all that, because that's going on a big limb. Like, you are burning all your bridges. You're not going back.
Right. But do you think that they're going to reveal that Matt saved Jack? Because Cameron would feel really betrayed by that, thinking that he trusted Matt this whole time.
Who knows right now? Obviously, Jared, Suri, and Matt know. Do other people know?
No, but Jag
doesn't he?
knows. Jag knows, and Jared's a big mouth. So,
Yeah. We'll see. I hope it gets out. At this point, I'm just rooting for chaos because I need something to be switched up in this house.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The live feeds this season are better than most feeds I've ever seen. Like, the house is in dramatic chaos every couple hours, flipping and flipping and flipping and paranoia. So it's a lot of fun to watch. But the end results have been pretty lame so far, just a bit of a steamroll. So I think I've said steamroll enough times this podcast. Does anyone else have any final topics before I wrap this show for the night? All right.
I just can't wait for you all to see Cameron's face whenever Red leaves the house. Cameron's
just saw it
face
on
on the
Twitter.
episode was like a look of, like on Game of Thrones, like that ice guy, the really scary one.
The walker.
That was Cam whenever Red
Well,
left the
and
house.
also when he wins HOH, it's silent in the backyard. It's
No,
awkward.
it was so silent. It hurt. And Suri was visibly upset, along with Izzy, who was also visibly upset.
Yeah.
He literally won, and everyone was like, oh, wow. Did you guys see that? Oh, shit.
Oh, well, on that note, we are going to be looking forward to another chaotic week, it sounds like, in the Big Brother 25 house. We'll be back here next week to recap all of the action on the live feeds and from the episodes. But until then, please subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on YouTube. And until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon.